I need help with something. 4 words. Apparently, my mouth would rather file for bankruptcy than say them. Because I can struggle with something for 10 minutes, get frustrated, make my Parkinson's worse, probably invent 3 new swear words, and Carmen will finally say, Bryce, do you want some help? And what do I say? Nope, I've got it. Clearly, Bryce. You're absolutely crushing it. And I've realized something lately. Sometimes when somebody offers to help me and I get irritated, I'm not actually irritated with them. I'm irritated because their offer reminds me that something I used to do without thinking now takes effort, or planning, or 2 hands, or 3 attempts, or apparently a small support crew. And stay with me till the end, because I'm going to tell you the sentence that I'm trying to use instead of I can do it myself. I'm not very good at it yet, but I think it changes the whole meaning of accepting help. Well, hey, welcome to Bryce Unplugged. This is the place where I take off the polished version, right? Not in the studio, and just talk, just me and you. And today, I want to talk about help, or more accurately, my deep and occasionally ridiculous resistance of asking for it. Because I've always been independent. I like doing things myself. I like solving the problem. I like figuring it out. I like being the person who helps other people. And that part matters, because when you spent a lot of your life being capable, being dependent, being the one who handles things, needing help can mess with your head in ways that nobody really prepares you for. And Parkinson's has a way of bringing that issue right out the front door, sometimes literally, because there are things now that can take me longer, things that can frustrate me faster, and things that are harder depending on whether I'm on, off, I'm tired, stressed, or just having one of those days where my body has apparently decided that today we're freelancing. And the funny part is, half the time, the help being offered is tiny. It's not, hey, Bryce, would you like me to completely take over your life? No. It's, do you want me to carry that? Do you want me to open that? Do you want me to grab that for you? Do you want me to drive? Do you want me to want me to do up that button? Tiny things. But sometimes my brain hears, you can't do it anymore. And that's the part that I'm trying to untangle. The help isn't really the problem, because if we're honest, most of the time, the person offering help isn't trying to take anything from us. They're trying to make things easier for us, right? But when you live with Parkinson's, especially for a long time, you can become very protective of what you can still do. And I understand that. I feel that. You start collecting little victories. Like, I got dressed myself. I drove. I carried the groceries. I made the dinner. I got through the airport. I fixed something. I did the stairs. Whatever it is. And those things matter. And they matter because they remind you that you're still you, that you're still capable, that you can still do things. So when somebody steps in too quickly, it can feel like they're stealing one of those little wins away from us, even if it's not that's the way they meant it. And I think this is especially true when the thing that they're helping us with is something that you used to automatically do. That's where pride gets involved. And pride is sneaky, because pride doesn't always sound like, I'm too proud to accept help. Sometimes pride sounds like, no, I'm fine. Nope, I've got it. Just give me a second. I can do it. Meanwhile, you've been trying to put the same arm through the same sleeve for 6 minutes. But by God, we are committed now, aren't we? And if that sounds like you, give me I got it in the comments. I want to know how many stubborn people I'm sitting here with today, and I hope it's not just me. And sometimes help feels like proof. And I think that's the harder part. Sometimes asking for help feels like proof. Proof that Parkinson's has changed something. Proof that you need something that you didn't used to need. And proof that maybe this disease has taken another little piece of independence. And I don't like that feeling. I don't think any of us do. Because there is a grief buried inside some of those moments. Not a giant dramatic grief, but a little grief. The kind that sneaks up on you while you're doing something, stupidly ordinary. You're opening a jar, or you're tying a shoe. You're cutting something or carrying a bag, writing something down, and suddenly you realize this used to be easier. That sentence can hit hard, especially if someone is standing beside you waiting to help. Because now you're not only dealing with the task, you're dealing with what the task means. And that's exhausting. But here's the part I had to admit. Sometimes refusing help costs me more than accepting it. A lot more. I can spend 10 minutes fighting with something because I want to prove I can do it. Then I'm frustrated, then I'm stressed, and then the tremor gets worse, or the stiffness gets worse. I'm definitely more tired, or I've burned a chunk of energy I could have used on something I actually really care about. And eventually, I end up needing help anyway, which is particularly an elegant system. Reject help, exhaust yourself, get mad, accept help. Excellent workflow, Bryce. That is very, very efficient. And I think sometimes we confuse independence with doing everything ourselves. Now, those are not the same thing. If I use all of my energy opening the jar and then I don't have enough energy left to enjoy the dinner, what exactly did I win? That jar did not award me a medal. It didn't clap. It didn't even say thank you. It just sat there, the smug little bastard. So I'm trying to ask myself a better question now. And that's not, can I do it myself? But rather, is doing this myself worth what it's going to cost me? And that's different. Because the answer may still be yes. Maybe doing it myself matters to me. Maybe I want to keep practicing that task. Maybe it's a part of staying independent. Great. But sometimes the answer is no. This is not where I need to spend my energy today. That's not giving up. That's choosing where the energy goes. And when you have Parkinson's, energy is currency. And you don't have an unlimited account. Spend it where it matters. Now, help can actually protect independence. And this is probably the biggest mind shift for me. Help does not always reduce independence. Sometimes it helps protect it. If Carmen drives because I'm tired, that may mean that I still get to go. If somebody carries something heavy, that may mean that I still have enough energy to enjoy the outing. If I accept the help with one little thing, I may be more independent for the next 5 things. And that's not dependence, that's strategy. And I wish I had understood that earlier, because there were definitely times where I turned help down just to prove something, and usually prove it to myself. And nobody else cared. Carmen wasn't standing there thinking, I wonder if Bryce can open that package independently today. She was probably thinking, why is this taking 20 minutes? Fair question. And there's another side to this too. When we refuse every offer of help, we sometimes make it harder for people who love us because they can see us struggling and they want to help. And we keep shutting the door. Sometimes we think we're protecting them by doing everything ourselves. But from their side, it can probably feel like, why won't you let me be a part of this? And that's something that I've had to think a lot about. Accepting help can actually be a form of trust. Not weakness, but trust. And that is uncomfortable for somebody like me to admit. But I think it's true. And then there's the big, ugly word underneath all of this. Burden. I think a lot of people with Parkinson's are afraid of becoming a burden. Maybe we don't always say it out loud, but it's there. You don't want to need too much. You don't want to ask too much. You don't want to change everybody else's plans and be the reason people have to slow down. You don't want to be the person everybody has to worry about. And sometimes that fear makes us refuse help even when we actually need it. Because if I don't ask, then I'm not a burden. That's what we think. Except that's not really how relationships work, do they? People who love us generally want to help us. They don't necessarily want to watch us suffer unnecessarily just so we can maintain the illusion that nothing's changed. And I know there's balance here. Of course there is. Nobody wants to have every little thing taken over. Nobody wants somebody hovering, constantly asking, like, do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? Eventually, I'm going to need help getting away from that person asking if I need help. But there's a middle ground, and I am trying to live there. Now, I want to say this too. Sometimes the frustration is legitimate. Sometimes people jump in too quickly. You're doing something more slowly, and before you've even had a chance to finish, somebody grabs it and does it for you. And that can feel awful. Because slower doesn't mean incapable. And struggling does not automatically mean take over. Sometimes I need another 30 seconds. Sometimes I want to do it myself. Sometimes I need the opportunity to keep doing something so I don't lose the skill. So if you care for someone with Parkinson's, I think the magic words may be this. Do you want help? Not, here, let me do that. Ask. Give us a choice. Because there's a huge difference between receiving help and having something taken over. And on our side, if the answer really is yes, maybe we need to get better at saying yes. And that's the part that I'm working on, and I suggest most of us are. Now, remember I promised you at the beginning that sentence that I'm trying to use instead of I can do it myself? Well, here it is. I can do it myself, but I don't have to. That's it. I can do it myself, but I don't have to. That sentence works for me because it doesn't erase my ability. It doesn't say I can't. It says I have a choice. I can carry that, but I don't have to. I can drive, but maybe today I don't have to. I can spend 10 minutes fighting with this stupid Amazon package, but I don't have to. And that feels different. It changes help from proof that I've lost something into a tool that I can choose to use. And I really like that. Now, am I good at it? Absolutely not. Ask Carmen. Actually, don't. Please don't. She has evidence. She has receipts. But I'm working on it because I want to protect my independence. And I'm starting to understand that protecting my independence may sometimes mean accepting more help, not less. And that was not the lesson I expected. I'm also trying to get better at being specific. Instead of waiting until I'm completely frustrated and then snapping, can you do this? I can say earlier, can you help me with this part? And that feels different too. Maybe I don't need the whole job taken over. Maybe I just need someone to hold something or carry something or, reach something. Maybe just drive one way or handle one little part. Help does not have to be all or nothing. And I think sometimes that's where we get stuck. We imagine accepting help means surrendering the whole task, and it doesn't. You can still be in charge. You can still choose the help. You can still say, just help me with this bit. That's independence too. And I do have a Brycism for you today. And here it is. If I spend all my energy proving that I don't need help, Parkinson's still wins the argument. There it is. Because I can be stubborn. Trust me, I have references. But I'm trying to save the stubbornness for the things that actually deserve it. I want to fight to keep moving. I want to fight to keep showing up. And I want to fight to keep living. I want to fight to keep doing the things that matter. I do not need to fight a jar lid for 17 minutes just to prove a philosophical point. That is not the hill. And maybe that's what I'm learning. Independence doesn't mean nobody ever helps me. It means Parkinson's doesn't get to decide what my life becomes. And sometimes the people who help me are actually part of how I keep it that way. So let me know in the comments, what is the hardest kind of help for you to accept? Driving, getting dressed, carrying things, maybe cooking, paperwork, something else, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments. Or maybe it's just simply any help whatsoever. Give me I got it if that's your usual answer. And if you know somebody living with Parkinson's who may need to hear this, please share this episode with them, because there is probably somebody out there exhausting themselves right now trying to prove that they can still do everything alone. I understand that person. I understand them very well. But maybe we can remind each other, you can still be strong and accept help. You can still be independent and accept help. and you can still be you and accept help. And maybe sometimes letting somebody help is exactly what allows us to keep doing life. Well, there you go. Thank you for sitting with me today. As always, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being real. And thank you for doing life today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next episode. We'll see you.